You have woken up in your own bed 10,000 times. You know the particular quality of light through those curtains, the specific sound the radiator makes at 6 a.m., the smell of the room, which is your smell, which you have stopped noticing, the way you stopped noticing your own heartbeat. 3 months ago, you stopped waking up there. The first time it happened, you were certain you had sleepwalked. You had never sleepwalked before, but there had to be a first time. You were in your neighbor's spare bedroom. The door was closed, the window was locked. Your neighbor was asleep in the next room. You stood in the dark for 40 minutes, trying to understand how you had gotten in without a key, before you climbed out the first-floor window and crossed the lawn back to your house in your socks. You did not tell her. You looked up, sleepwalking. You read about complex nocturnal behaviors, REM disruptions, ambulatory episodes with no conscious awareness. It fit. It was a thing that happened to people. You told yourself this was a thing that was happening to you. The second time you were in a motel room on Route 9, 7 miles from your house. The motel was one you had driven past 100 times. You had never stopped. The bed was made, and you were in it, on top of the covers, still in your pajamas. The key card was on the nightstand. Your name was not on the reservation. You checked the receipt under the door. Someone named David Calloway had booked and paid for this room 2 days ago. He was not in it. You were. You called a rideshare home. You did not speak during the ride. You did not know what you would have said. You set up the phone tracking that night. Location services on. Background app refresh on. Continuous GPS logging through 3 separate apps, including one designed for monitoring elderly relatives with memory conditions. You placed your phone in your hand before you fell asleep. You held it. You woke up the next morning in your own bed, with the phone still in your hand. And every log showing that the phone had not moved more than 8 feet in either direction throughout the night. You had moved. The phone had not. You bought a Fitbit. You wore it to bed. Your steps during the night, 0. Your heart rate, normal sleep patterns. A slight elevation around 3 a.m. that could have been a dream, but was nothing that looked like walking. Your body, according to every instrument you attached to it, had not left the bed. You woke up in a farmhouse in Carroll County, 90 minutes away. This is when you began keeping the log. The log is precise. Date, location, description of the room. What, if anything, you recognized. Time of waking, whether the room was occupied, whether you were seen. You have never been seen. This is the detail that concerns you most, because it requires an explanation you cannot find. You have woken in 14 rooms in 9 weeks. A ranch house in a suburb you have never visited. An apartment above a Vietnamese restaurant 3 counties over. You could smell the prep work starting below you before dawn. A child's room, which you left as quickly and carefully as you could, and which you did not write about in detail in the log, and have not returned to in memory if you can help it. A hospital waiting room at 4 a.m., which was occupied by two people who were awake and looking at their phones and who did not look up. The rooms are occupied. Someone lives in each of them. The people in them, the sleeping ones, the ones in the next room, the ones whose houses you are inside, they do not wake. They do not stir. You move through these rooms in whatever early morning dark precedes your alarm, and they sleep as though the house is empty, as though you are not there. You have begun to wonder, with a specific and growing precision, whether they can see you at all. The object is the thing you keep returning to in the log. Every room, not most rooms, every room, without exception, contains one object that belongs to you. Not something generic, not something coincidental. Yours, specifically. Room 3. Your childhood alarm clock. The one with the cracked face you've had since you were 11, which has been in a box in your storage unit since you moved 5 years ago. Sitting on a stranger's nightstand. Room 6. The coffee mug your sister gave you for your birthday in 2019. A limited edition print run from a local potter. One of 12 made. You own one. It was in your cabinet when you left. It was on a stranger's counter when you arrived. Room 9. A photograph of your mother that you have never shared digitally, never photographed, never reproduced. It exists in one copy. It was in the drawer of a nightstand, in a house you had never visited before, in a town 40 miles from where you grew up, belonging to a family you cannot locate any connection to. The photograph was in a frame you did not recognize. Someone has been framing your things. Someone has been placing them in rooms. Someone or something that works in a register you cannot name has been preparing these rooms for you. Not like traps, like welcomes. You tested this directly on the night of week 7. Before you went to sleep, you removed every personal object from your bedroom. Everything that could be identified as specifically yours. Photographs, gifts, monogrammed items, the particular books you annotate in a handwriting that is unmistakably your own. You placed them in your car trunk. You locked the car. You woke up in a studio apartment, in a building you don't know in a city 2 hours away. On the kitchen counter was your copy of a novel you had left in the car, annotated in your handwriting, opened to a page you had not read yet. You have not been back to that page. What you have done, what you did in week 9, when the fear finally organized itself into something you could act on, is begin to leave notes, small ones, nothing that could be easily traced back to you. On a card, in your handwriting, a single line. I am not doing this on purpose. You have left 11 notes. You have never found a reply. Until last week, you woke in a house you had not been in before. A narrow Victorian on the east side of a town you've passed through once. Bedroom on the 2nd floor. Someone asleep in the next room. The sound of steady breathing, the kind of deep sleep that does not shift. On the nightstand next to you, your 1st grade school photograph in a frame you did not choose. And beneath it, on a folded note card, in handwriting that was not yours. We know. We've been putting them somewhere safe. You keep losing them. Please stop leaving notes. We can't always find them in time. You stared at that for a long time. You took the photograph. It was yours. It has always been yours. And you folded the note card and put it in your pocket. And you climbed out the window before the person in the next room could wake. The note card is in your desk drawer. You have read it, at a conservative estimate, 40 times. We know. We've been putting them somewhere safe. You keep losing them. You have not yet determined who "we" refers to. You have not yet determined what you keep losing. You have not yet determined whether the objects are the point, or whether the rooms are the point, or whether you are the point, or whether there is a point at all, or whether you are simply a thing that moves through the night into spaces that expect you. Because something has been preparing for your arrival for much longer than you have been arriving. Last night, you slept in your own bed. Your phone did not move. Your Fitbit registered 0 steps. You have not yet checked the guest room. You have been putting off checking the guest room for 3 days, which is precisely how long it has been since you noticed the door was closed, and you do not close that door, and you have not been in there since you decided not to check. And there is a quality to the silence on the other side that you have begun to recognize. The log will need a new entry. You're going to check tonight.